Hi, everybody. Dr. Stu Hoffman, president of ChiroSecure, back with you today. And today I have a special guest to work through some things that come up all the time. I have Matt Prados from Review Wave to talk with us today about some of the things that he and his company do, which I think are really cool. But in addition to that, remember, you're calling me every single day about challenges you get into. And the reason I have Matt on is because I think he has an opportunity for you to be able to overcome some of the obstacles that we get to see. So, for instance, this week I had a doctor call me up, and one of the issues that they were having was that somebody had left a very negative review on their website. Actually, this one was on Yelp, and wanted to know what to do about it, how to handle it. And we got it all worked out with them. In fact, the patient actually updated their review, gave them a 4-star out of 5, but from 1, that's a pretty damn good shift, and posted that, you know, when I called and needed something, they were willing to help correct and all of that. And quite frankly, sometimes we recommend you respond, sometimes not respond. It all depends on the situation. But Matt works in this world, and I wanted to share a little bit about what he has and what he's found, because if you go out to any event in the chiropractic world, at some point you're going to see Review Wave, and that's Matt. So Matt, thanks for being with us on the ChiroSecure show today. And I wanted to see if you can, you know, maybe start off with sharing a little bit about how Review Wave came to be and what you're doing more specifically, at least right now, with reviews for doctors, and how to not only counteract the negative reviews, but to impact on getting tons of positive reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us. So, you know, Review Wave was born about 2 years ago, and it was born after a very deep analysis into a lot of web marketing campaigns. And what we found is the guys that were crushing it online had the most reviews. So it seems simple enough. Let's help everybody get reviews. Through a lot of trial, error, coaching guys how to ask, all these things, we finally came to the conclusion it just has to be automated 100%. Off of the office's to-do list, or, you know, systems or whatever they have to learn, and just completely automate it. And so we integrated with all the top EHRs, you know, your ChiroTouch, Platinum, Genesis, EasyBiz, Eclipse, et cetera, et cetera. So we know when the patient comes in, and we send out feedback requests after the appointment. And so the initial goal was super simple. Let's just get guys lots of reviews. So we built a system. We were asking for reviews, and everything was great. And what we realized is we actually were helping guys avoid the situation that you just mentioned. And the way we help them avoid it is, you know, after an appointment, we ask, you know, how was it? You know, what was their experience like? They get to give you an initial rating on our platform, 1 to 5 stars. If it's 1 to 3 stars, obviously something went wrong. They're not happy. We apologize and ask what could have been done better. So the idea is to get the feedback privately before they go to your Yelps or your Googles or your Facebooks to, you know, slander you or smear you, or, you know, whatever you want to call it that they're doing. Sometimes it's just honest feedback, but we want to get that feedback before it goes online, obviously. And you know, that was the concept and how we came to be, and the results have just been outstanding. So we're really excited to, you know, work with you know, thousands of chiropractors.
Yeah, and so let me say this. We at ChiroSecure, when I'm talking to doctors, and, you know, sometimes they call me back because they're so thrilled that we were able to coach them through an escalating situation and have them totally squish it, similar to what I described about the negative review. And a lot of times it works out really, really well. And I think that when we ask the doctor to please leave a review, you know, it's hit or miss. Sometimes they may feel guilty, so they'll do it in case they ever need to talk to me personally again. But at the same time, we do similar. When we sign a new doctor up, we ask them about their experience. Even when I was in practice, even 35 years ago, I was surveying my patients. It was different because it wasn't going online anywhere. There was no online. And I always wanted to know, because you mentioned feedback, and I think that's so important, because how do you get better? How do you correct things? How do you recognize? And if it's not automated, no one's going to do it, at least the majority of the time. So I like having that type of a setup as well. And let's be frank about it. You know, these negative reviews, we want to bombard the internet with positive reviews about each doctor, but about all doctors, because you can find them. And the more that we impact chiropractic with tons of positive reviews, it's good for everybody, including the individual doctor. So that's one of my goals, because it helps fulfill my mission. And I want to just add in about patients. You know, patients that like the doctor. I've lectured on this for years and years and years. The more they like the doctor, the less likely they are to sue, and therefore also to give a bad review. It's not impossible, but we want to solicit all the good reviews, and that's what you're really talking about. So with that, can you just explain a little bit more? You mentioned when a patient comes in for a visit, they wind up getting a question. How does that work? Is it texting them? Are you taking the doctor's patient data? Because doctors want to know that. It makes them concerned about signing up with an independent company. You said you were integrating. What does that mean to the doctor? And how does it relate to the communication with the patients?
Absolutely. So we do connect, and so we do read the data, and in some cases we even write back to the EHRs. We are obviously HIPAA compliant, and take very good care to stay secure, obviously. But the way it works is we connect to the EHR, so we're finding out when the patient comes in. We get the patient's name, email, cell phone, appointment time, the basic data that we need to know that they arrived, and we send out a text and an email. Obviously, text is all the rage these days, 98% open rates, et cetera. But our emails get opened at about a 35% open rate, which is huge for email. And so patients still use email, and it's still worth doing. So we do both. And, we ask them a very simple question, on a scale of 1 to 5, how do we do? 5 being the best. And, we open that dialogue. And what we found, we've tested many different themes, many different questions. Our entire premise is based off of something in the internet world called the NPS score. And it used to be, would you recommend us on a scale of 1 to 10? And, we shortened it down to 5. And, we didn't ask about, would you, refer to us, recommend. That doesn't really work in healthcare. Patients don't like the way that feels because they just don't answer that question very often. So we ask, how was their experience? It's all about them. And, they get to start responding via two-way text. It's not just a one-way communication. The office can jump in at any time and respond. And where we've actually gone, the reviews is our leading foot, if you will. But what we've seen is the patient experience from start to finish is really what offices need help with. And so we added ways for patients to communicate easier. And the biggest thing to look at, getting sued, you're probably not getting sued by active patients very often, I would assume. It's mostly the guys that have quit that come back and sue you. Is that how that works?
Most of the time.
Most of the time. I figured that would kind of be that way. And so if you think about it, if you've been in practice for more than, 5 years, you've probably got thousands of patient files, but you've only got hundreds of active files.
Right.
Why the difference? Why do so many people come and leave? Imagine, let's say you've got 5,000 inactive patient files and you've got 500 active patient files. If you could have just stopped 10% of those people from walking out the door, what would your practice look like today? It would be extremely different, right? So the idea is improve their experience, close the floodgate from the back door, and, you know, obviously continue to deliver, you know, phenomenal care, which everybody watching this, I'm sure they do. But procedurally and administratively and organizationally, how do you improve these things to keep people coming back? And that's really what Review Wave, you know, fills the void of.
Right. And, you know, I think it's important to point out that, you know, we want the doctor to be the go-to person in their own community. And that takes knowing the doctor, liking the doctor, and trusting the doctor. And open communication comes in many different ways. You know, when I teach how to introduce an informed consent form into your practice, it's amazing some doctors still have a hard time with that. But I teach to let that be a tool to open up communication as soon as you meet that new patient, and to utilize it so that you establish a rapport with that new patient, which leads to longevity, and you wind up establishing trust because you're explaining things to them right up front, and that's what they're used to, whether we like it or not, in all other healthcare models that they participate in. We don't have to utilize the same words, the same terminology, the same scare tactics, but we do need to at least meet them where they're at so that we can establish that trust and that likability with them. With Review Wave, everything that you're talking about increases that open communication, that dialogue, whether it be on a text or an email or the phone, quite frankly. So I think that that's positive. I know that the doctors don't want another job for them. You know, they have enough. You're making it easy for them. Mm-hmm. So if you're making it easy, what does it take for a doctor? Let's just throw it out, seeing 150 visits in a week, whatever the number is. And they sign up with Review Wave and they're already using ChiroTouch just because you mentioned them, and you're integrated in. What does that look like for a doctor to come on board, and what do they get to see out of it?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest feedbacks we hear, you know, whenever I talk to, you know, doctors at the events is they love Review Wave, but they don't know how it works. They're like, I don't even log in. My staff does that. And which is great. And it's why we built it the way we did. The integration with ChiroTouch is super simple. We download a simple piece of connection software onto their server, and we sync, and it's off and away. They're up and running in, you know, 30 minutes of a kind of onboarding call that we do with their staff usually. So their staff knows exactly how to do it. 150 visits a week. You know, they're probably seeing, you know, 100 to 200 different individuals in a given month. So we're sending out, you know, a few hundred feedback requests. So they're going to end up getting somewhere between, you know, 5 and 15 reviews per month on average, or something like that. And what makes it vary is the actual experience. And that's the part where the doctors do need to kind of pay attention. If they're not hitting the benchmarks, if the response from reviews is less, what's wrong? What's broken with the patient experience? Why do you get less than, you know, everybody else in your industry all across the US, right? Mm-hmm. Practice is different in how you process patients. So we got to figure out, how do we improve that? How do we, you know, so there is some intelligence that you need to act on the data from time to time, but most of the time everything is cranking, and they just get reviews and they just start climbing, and it's good. And what they'll then see, at some point there's a tipping point, if you will, where patients start coming in and saying, I saw your Google reviews. And that's when you have, you know, more than everybody else, of course, but usually it's more like you have double everybody else. It's impressively more than your competitors. So if your competitors have 40 or 50, you've got 100. And then they've read enough of your reviews where they've identified with one of your previous patients. So they come in saying that they picked you, right? So it's not that they're coming in and they're checking you out. They've already picked you. They've already trusted you. You know, Google is the largest social network in the world. And it's not considered by most to be a social network, but if you look at social media, it's other people. It's not just the media outlet publishing it. And so with reviews, which is one of the single most important features Google has, is real reviews by real people. That a couple 6-8 months ago, they actually wiped out all the anonymous ones. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that's a huge move towards being more trustable. And so Google allows you to interact and gives you that social aspect. And so you get the social proof more than anything from Google reviews, more than anything else out there. However many likes you get on your Facebook page matters nothing compared to your Google reviews, because no matter what kind of marketing you're doing, they're going to Google you before they come in. So even if they don't find you on Google itself, you do a dinner with the doc, or you do a newspaper ad, or you do a radio ad, or school talk, whatever, they're Googling you, and they're either going to like it or they're not.
Right. I'm with you. And you build your practice with referrals and reviews. Are the social proof, how does this make it happen faster? How does it relate with even referrals?
Sure. So 85% of people surveyed 2 years ago in a major national survey looked at online reviews to be as trustworthy as a personal referral. And so today, if you go to dinner and you look around, people are on their phones, they're looking down, they're not talking as much. So, you're not going to have necessarily that, the referral game that, happened 10 years ago is different than today, because people used to ask each other, hey, who do you see for this? Who do you see for that? Now, who do they ask? They ask their best friend Google, chiropractor in my town, right? Best chiropractor in my town, whatever it may be. And so you're absolutely going to see a bump in your new patients from Google, which in essence, in my opinion, is referrals. And, when people leave reviews as well, it's like they're getting to share their testimonial, and you can post that on your Facebook page. You can do lots of repurposing with the content, put it on your website, of course. But that social proof of those sheer number of reviews, I've got guys all the time telling me they went from 3 to 4 new patients a month from the internet to 20, 25 new patients a month from the internet. And the only difference is the reviews. So the reviews can take, absolutely. I mean, think about an average case, on the low side, 1,500. I mean, 20 new patients.
Well, everyone wants more new patients. So that's the bottom line. And let's just come back around to my end of things a little bit. Mm-hmm. What about negative reviews? You're capturing them. What do you recommend to the doctors?
So, we recommend that as soon as you get that negative feedback, which ideally happens before the negative review online, you whatever it is, you reach out and you handle it. Communication can handle anything, if you catch it soon enough. The more mad, the more disconnected, the further away they are from liking you, the harder it is going to be to handle it, obviously, right? So if you catch it an hour after they walk out the door, you're much more likely to handle it. But, whatever they're upset about, obviously you got to be intelligent about it. Maybe, maybe the doctor was in a bad mood and didn't treat him as well as he should have. Or maybe the receptionist just broke up with her boyfriend and she was having a pretty bad day. Yeah. Whatever it may be, reach out, apologize. They trusted you enough to come into your office. They expected a certain result. And for whatever reason, they don't feel they got it, whether it's just the experience or the actual service itself was subpar to them. But work it out.
I totally agree. We like to be proactive, because in the malpractice world, as you said, the faster you can address something, the better the outcome. And so with Review Wave, does the office get this feedback immediately? Mm-hmm. So yeah,
absolutely. So
if they're paying attention, mm-hmm. they can really address things in almost real time.
Absolutely. So we can actually text the doctor, the office manager, the notification that there was a negative feedback. So it's
all in the setup.
It's all in the setup. So that however many emails, however many cell phones you want to put in there, you can get 10 texts for every negative feedback, and they're not going to happen very often. I mean,
right. It's not like we don't want to mislead anybody to think that. We want to build positive reviews, but we have to understand that the negative ones are where you learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have value just like the positive ones do. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So Matt, how do people get in touch with ReviewWave?
Absolutely. So reviewwave.com, that's review waves. There's two W's in the middle there, .com. Jump on our website. You can see a lot of information, but I recommend everybody just click book a demo and check it out. And one of our team will go through it. They'll go through your specific scenario, how the integration would work for you, what other services we have that you might be interested in, from, two-way texting, appointment reminders, online scheduling, all kinds of great stuff. We're here to help, and we stand behind our product. We've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy, we'll stroke you a check and we'll part ways as friends because, we love chiropractic. We love chiropractors. We're here to serve you so you can serve more patients.
And I appreciate that. And I, want people to realize one of the reasons that I have you on here today is because we want good press. And we also want to be able to address issues before they become escalated. And that's what we get to do together. So I appreciate it. And I hope people will take it serious because it does real good for them individually. But at the same time, it does help all of us move the chiropractic profession forward. And I like that too. So I appreciate your time and coming on board with us at ChiroSecure, and we'll do what we can to keep moving things forward right alongside you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.